This is the LowcoSports Lowdown podcast. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr.
Hey, Loco sports fans, welcome to another edition of the Loco Sports Lowdown. I'm Justin Jarrett, joined as always by Wes Kerr, and we're going to have a few other guests popping in throughout the show today, Wes, because we had an interview with Ashley Powell, the May River wrestling coach last week. We're going to show you some of that, as well as I sat down and had a great talk with Blake Maffei, the guy who founded the Reverence Wrestling Club that has really taken youth wrestling to a new level, and we're going to see that start to really take a big step up in the high schools. I think Blake and I had a great talk about wrestling here in the Loco. So lots of wrestling on this show, but not all wrestling. And in fact, we're going to open up with some football talk because we have the Blitz Border Bowl coming up on Saturday, which is always a blast. And we got Terrance Ashe, who's coaching the Loco team this year, to come on and talk with us a little bit about that. So we'll get to him in a minute, but just checking in, Wes. I know I've been running from one gym to another to watch basketball games, getting in a little wrestling here and there too. So I know you've been busy too, but how are you holding up over there?
I'm doing well. It's an exciting time of year. Basketball region play in full swing now. Just go over to Bluffton to see the Bobcats. The girls beating Lucy Beckham, a nice region opening win for this Bluffton team looking to defend their region crown 7-4A. Bluffton boys, unfortunately, on the wrong end against Lucy Beckham. That Bengals team is looking very strong and got a lot of excellent outside shooters and some good athletes on that Bengals team. So they should be a force in this region. So excited to see how it unfolds in these next few weeks. But yeah, it's been a great time to, delve into winter sports, wrestling heating up, May River with a big championship win this past weekend. So Sharks continue to get it done on the mats, and and it's been these last few weeks. I mean, it's been fun. I had some family over for the holidays, which is great to connect with them, and then right back out to cover some hoops. So it's been busy the last few weeks, but I'm really enjoying this time of year. Getting into, it's cool. I mean, we say it a couple of times, but it's refreshing when you go from season to season. You cover a whole new crop of stars, coaches, and just new storylines, which is really awesome. Getting to do that 3 times a year here for all these different sports seasons in Loco. So that's a fun part of what we do here, and I'm excited. Is we got some teams that I think are looking very strong to competing for state titles, including those Hilton and Christian County girls who are well on their way to get another state championship. I mean, absolutely demolishing the competition so far. Hilton and Christian County boys also 12-2 start. So both teams could be doing some big things come February. So a couple of BA girls also off to a strong start. And then, of course, just mentioned the Bluffton girls who have been kind of on the precipice of making that deep run in the high school league. So we got some great teams to cover. Really excited as things continue to move along in basketball season. And, it's been quite a week here in the global sports scene, most notably because of the miraculous news that has happened with Damar Hamlin, which has really touched all parts of the sports world. Of course, it happened in the NFL, but I think everybody has been able to take some inspiration, whether or not they are an athlete, just because of how incredible that entire story was. Obviously, just the tragic how it happened, and just to see him lying down unconscious in the field, and I mean, it was just absolutely heartbreaking. Everybody was stunned. I mean, the entire football world was holding its collective breath for what was going to happen next. And, I mean, just it all comes back to the amazing work of Denny Callington, who performed CPR, and what he did in those first few moments after Hamlin went down saved his life. And the doctors mentioned that as they treated Hamlin in the hospital, and just a miraculous story. And just to see all the support, all the money that was donated his way throughout these last few days. I mean, human beings, I mean, for as much as sometimes things don't always go right with people, this is where you see the good in so many, and be able to support when a fellow brother suffers like this, and when he goes through a tragedy like this. Just awesome to see so many people reaching out, and everybody fell in love with his journey, and how much he overcame all these obstacles. And man, just to see him, alive and well, and have those movement of his legs and be able to breathe on his own, just miraculous. And then to see all the support from not just Bills fans, but football fans, sports fans in general, and all the touching moments that we saw. And then what the Bills did. Naeem Hines taking the opening kickoff for a touchdown just past this today in the game against the Patriots. I mean, just an unbelievable story. You couldn't have scripted any better, and just it's just the power of social media. I think it comes back to with the ability to quickly reach out and have these viral moments that touch everyone, or in this case, spread this awareness that we need to do what we need to do to help this person. And so I think that's how social media is a good resource in so many times, being able to spread that info. So, just an unbelievable story all the way around. Obviously heartbreaking initially, but just the perseverance and the amazing work of those healthcare workers and of course the Bills training staff. I mean, so congratulations to everyone involved, and just we wish Damar and his family and his supporters all the best, and just what a phenomenal story. And Kellington and those guys should be recognized as heroes for what they did in saving a life and inspiring the entire globe.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up in the sense that it has kind of started a conversation about athletic trainers and the fact that in the high school ranks, not every school has one on staff or even on site for certainly not every practice and not even every game at some places. And, in fact, last night I was at Whale Branch and they're shorthanded right now and they didn't have a trainer on site, and Keith Chisholm broke his nose, and Adam Kinlock, who's a football coach, is having to tend to him, so, I think situations like this, as tragic as they are, can serve as a reminder to us about, the preparation and the readiness that this can happen at any moment. And, most of the time we at least have ambulance on site for football games and things like that. But at a basketball game, maybe not. And things can happen there too. Certainly not at every baseball game. And this is something that can happen in a baseball game in a heartbeat, pun not intended there, but a line drive to the chest and it can be devastating. So I think it did wake us up a little bit in that sense of if we look at it from that perspective, that we certainly need to take some measures to make sure that we have athletic training staff on site for every high school sporting event, because you just never know when it's going to become a life or death situation.
Yeah, called the Classic. We remember what happened there.
Yes,
20 years ago.
Yep. Yeah. It can happen at any time, and it only takes once that you're not prepared for it to be tragic. So great work by that training staff, and certainly we need to be better advocates statewide for making sure that all of our small rural schools are properly staffed. Because I've definitely been at some 1A games where even football games where there was not medical personnel on the sideline. So while we're on the subject of football, Wes, let's shift gears and bring in Coach Terrance Ashe from Battery Creek, who is for this week the coach of Team Lowco in the Blitz Border Bowl over in Savannah. So let's get him in here, Coach Ashe. All right, we are joined now by Battery Creek head football coach Terrance Ashe, who also has the honor this year of coaching the South Carolina Low Country squad in the Blitz Border Bowl put on by our friends over at WSAV, which is coming up on Saturday. And Coach, I know you got a lot of hats you're wearing right now because you're also helping out on the administrative side while you guys seek to replace the fantastic Sarah Hayes, who took a job at the South Carolina High School League. But so you got a lot of stuff going on, but let's talk a little bit about this Border Bowl coming up, and the roster that you guys have put together is pretty impressive. In fact, a couple of names on there, I'm like, really? Are you getting Ferris and Marable to play? Tell us about what we're going to see on Saturday.
Well, unfortunately, it would have been great to have them play in this game. When you talk about picking the team and recognize those guys that are deserving to play in this game, sometimes you don't want to leave those guys off, so they're not forgotten. Even though those are names that it's hard to forget. Even like Casey Fields, those are some guys that are going to have a spectacular career, I believe, at the next level. Even some of the guys over at Bluffton. I know we got two over there, the Linder kid that is going to be on an official visit. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying that. But, those are some guys, you think about the team that you could put together. It could be because there's a lot of talent down here in the Low Country. So, there'll definitely be some names that that were on the original, the initial roster that will not be participating. So we'll be filling some of those spots for this game.
This is a very solid roster. I'm looking forward to covering the game and actually being on the call on Saturday afternoon with WSAV for the Blitz Border Bowl. But, just tell me about the excitement that you have to coach the best players out of this entire low country. I mean, you've seen a lot of them on the field this fall and in previous seasons. How awesome is it to kind of coach them all and kind of put a bow on this 2022 football season?
Oh, it's awesome. We got some spectacular seniors out there in the low country. So anytime you can put some talented guys from different schools together and allow them to showcase their ability, it's definitely awesome and a great opportunity, not only for me, but the coaches and also the players.
Well, Coach, just tell me about give people an idea of what it's like to try to prepare for this kind of thing. Because, I mean, you have such a short time frame to pull your roster together, and then what you get like 1 week of evening practices. How do you really prepare for an all-star game like this? What are you thinking as far as you have to keep the schemes pretty simple, I'm thinking, but tell us what it's like to be the head coach of this kind of deal.
Definitely going to keep things simple. You get a week of preparation there, and a lot of these guys are playing winter sports, whether it's wrestling or playing basketball, and especially now you're entering that region play. So, we'll start practice late in the evening, 6:30, to allow those guys an opportunity to still participate in their respective sport at their school, and then come over to prepare for Saturday's All-Star game. So definitely looking forward to getting these guys on campus here at Battery Creek and, going through some practices, installing, and just, really focusing on the fundamentals and letting those guys go out there Saturday and have fun.
Coach, for those who are unaware, just describe the process of how these players are selected for the Blitz Border Bowl team and how you kind of aided in the process of picking out the cream of the crop here in the Lowco.
Well, you try your best to get players from each school from the low country so they can come out and perform for their high school. So, I think we got a variety of players from most of the schools in this area. So, just getting those guys, and, it's awesome because, I'm used to having guys go both ways. So, you're talking about a week of practice where you got an offense and defense and you're separate, and then you come together for some good on good competitive practices, whether it's team pass or just team O versus D there. So definitely looking forward to these guys competing against each other in practice, and then ultimately going out there on Saturday and competing against a really good Georgia team.
What are going to be the biggest goals for this group as you get ready for just a short couple of days of practice before the game kicks off on Saturday?
Well, it really comes down to having fun, letting those guys go out there and compete. When you look at all-star games and all-star week, when you're talking about preparation, you're not going to grind those guys into the ground. You really just want them to come out there, have fun. And the biggest thing that I want our guys to take away is, those relationships. They're going to meet guys that they may know, and be able to build a stronger relationship, and also those guys that they don't know, really. So it's going to come back to them building a relationship, going out there, competing, and having fun.
Yeah, and I think we've seen great camaraderie from the Low Country team in the past few years. And I think actually when they started to pull in the guys from Wade Hampton and Woodland and stuff, it actually was even better. Like it was even cooler to see all these guys banding together who didn't necessarily know each other. So, I think the kids over here take a lot of pride in this game. And, they felt like they were kind of taken for granted for a couple of years there. Like Georgia was just going to wax them. And that one year, the Loco boys popped up and surprised them. And, ever since then, I think the Low Country kids have really taken it to heart. So do you get that sense that our guys, kind of, they got a chip on their shoulder about this game? They want to go over there and prove something?
Yeah, anytime you can represent your state, for the most part, you have a Shrine Bowl that goes against North Carolina. But this is an opportunity to go against, some of the best in Georgia, right down the coastal empire. So anytime you can go against another state, you definitely want to play for those bragging rights. A lot of people are going to say Georgia has some of the best football in the country. So it gives us an opportunity to showcase what we have here in South Carolina. So looking forward to these guys going out there competing, and ultimately the fun is in the winning. So hopefully we'll be celebrating at the end.
Well, series is evened up at 2 apiece. Low Country got it done last year, a narrow victory. Jamie Risher, of course, the MVP at Wade Hampton in 2022, and now a chance to take the series lead here in 23. And I think another part of this is for a lot of these student athletes, I mean, you got a bunch of them going to the college level, but some, this is the last time they'll put on pads and play this kind of competitive football level. So kind of what does that impact have in terms of some of these guys leaving it all out there, playing that final game as they get ready for this Blitz Border Bowl?
Well, some would definitely go off and continue to play at the next level. For some, this may be their last opportunity to put pads on and play the game of football. You're going to have some, they're going to have a tough decision to make, whether they go off to a smaller school to play football or whether they go off to college for, more of an educational purposes and setting themselves up to have a successful career. So ultimately, this definitely is the last game that they'll play at the high school level. So, just going out and, creating those memories and ultimately, having the opportunity to leave it all out on the field.
Well, Coach, looking forward to seeing this on Saturday, but wanted to give you just a little bit of time to talk about your program at Battery Creek. And, you guys have that brand new facility that is fantastic. Obviously, you've got change coming with Sarah moving on, but, how excited are you about the foundation that you've been able to start building there and the direction you're going? It definitely felt like this year there was some real positive momentum, and, some injuries kind of hurt you guys mid-season, but Creek on the rise has kind of been the motto over there, and certainly it feels that way from the outside. But how you feeling about how things are developing?
Definitely taking a step in the right direction. This is one of the best classes that I've had the opportunity to coach in the 3 years that I've been here. We were able to get a lot of young talent out there. Nicholas Underwood, which is a freshman, he's going to have a bright career for us. Damian Freeman. So we played a lot of young, skilled guys there. We're looking to rebuild up front in the trenches there. And I think us getting our guys into our weightlifting class this second semester is going to allow us to get stronger and get faster there. So we've started to get into our off-season training here. We really take off the week after this bowl game as far as afternoon workouts. Most of our guys are going to be out on the track team, or they're going to be playing soccer, or they're going to be playing baseball. So just keeping them active and starting to set that foundation for the 2023 season. So very excited, so we're really focused on getting it done in the weight room. We have a great facility when it comes to that weight room. And I think Ryan McConnell is doing a great job as our scrim coach, not only for our football team, but for our entire athletic program. I'm helping out with the third block class with weightlifting. So, I think we have around 35 kids in that class right now. And I would say right around 30 are student athletes from various sports. So really starting to, tell everyone how important the weight room is, and that all our student athletes should, buy into the goals and the process that we have, and that starts in the weight room. So very excited, not only for the football program, but also from an athletic department standpoint as well.
Really enjoyed covering this team in 2022. Some big time victories, including that win over Whale Branch and beat North Charleston again to the playoffs. And what does that experience do for a young team that's looking to take that next step coming back into 2023? How does that kind of push them, motivate them even harder to come back, knowing that we continue to make some strides, and we're going to find a way to get even better a year from now? So just tell me about the overall energy as you transition into this offseason and push yourself to get ready for what could be a big year ahead.
Oh, definitely. Starting because we played 7 games on the road, not including the playoff game there. So we had to do a lot of traveling this year. But just to be able to open up our facilities with that home victory over Well Branch was definitely a time in our program that built that confidence for our kids. And ultimately we finished 2-1. We lost that game to Beaufort at home. So going into next year, we won't have to worry about putting in those transportation requests. So we're looking at having that 7 home games. So our kids definitely be reminded that they're going to be able to defend their home turf with having 7 home games. So, and it allows our community to come out and support our kids, especially after the work that they're going to put in this offseason.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch Damian and Derek Smalls and those guys. You got some serious speed on that turf. It's gonna be a fast show over there in Burton. So definitely looking forward to that, Coach. And thanks so much for your time today, but also thanks for stepping up and coaching these guys in this All-Star game. I've talked to everybody who's done it before you, and it is yeoman's work. I mean, there's just so much that goes into it that people don't even see to make it happen. And I mean, right down to like finding enough helmets and shoulder pads and stuff like that is just a massive undertaking that people don't appreciate. So, thanks so much for what you're doing, especially in the middle of trying to hold down the fort at Battery Creek and everything else. So good work, man. We love covering your team and seeing what you're doing. And we look forward to seeing what you can do with these guys on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll get equipment in tomorrow. That's supposed to be delivered. So we'll have a great Monday. But yes, we got some very special things coming to Battery Creek. I know our administration is going to do a great job of, trying to do their very best to replace a phenomenal Sarah Hayes that led the charge from an athletic department standpoint. So, again, thank you guys for allowing me onto your show. You guys do an amazing job there. So, you guys keep up the good work there.
Appreciate you, Coach. And we'll be right back with more here on the LowcoSports Lowdown. All right, great to talk with Coach Ashe. I think he's doing a terrific job at Battery Creek, building the foundation for something that you got to walk before you can run, and they've had some lean years in the past, and he's starting to build that foundation up. And I thought this year they really started to turn the corner. I'm excited for him to have this opportunity to coach the guys. I think he's a good fit in the sense that his personality. His outlook is really a great fit for this all-star game. You heard the way he talked about the objective is having fun and building relationships. And I think that's the right tack to take with this thing. Hopefully it results in a win too, but great stuff from Coach Ashley there. And I can't wait until Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic Blitz Border Bowl. I was looking through the roster and we got a bunch of Loco studs ready to make it 2 in a row against Team Coastal Empire. Series tied up at 2, and it should be a fantastic game. And obviously it's an exhibition game in a sense, but still, I mean, like we said, these low country players, they take pride in this game. I mean, it's major bragging rights to beat your rivals across the border and pick up a win like this. And for many, like we said, this is the last hurrah. I mean, it's the last high school football game for these guys. Many of the last hurrah in terms of their football career, and some will go on to play in college, but they're going to leave it all out there. And I expect players to put in the work from every snap here. And I think Terrance Ashe is a great coach to lead the squad. And we've seen what he's done over at Battery Creek, and led his Dolphins back to the playoffs this year. Had that emotional win against Whale Branch on their home field. Just a tremendous job what he was able to do. And even in some of those losses, they compete. Like the first game of the season, the home opener for Hilton Head, where Battery Creek came in and nearly stolen on the road. And we just saw that pattern that this Creek team, led by that tough, hard-nosed run game with Damian Freeman, Jeremiah McKeechin, and they pounded the rock and they found success against Hilton Head, really translated that the rest of the way, unfortunately, until those injuries kind of took a toll. And unfortunate there for the Battery Creek team, but making the playoffs, getting that win to get them in the postseason was huge over North Charleston. And that's kind of that's when it propels your program forward. And what a great opportunity for Terrance Ashe, and it's well earned to work with these best players here in the Lowco and look to lead them to a Blitz Border Bowl title. So, for these young men, I mean, enjoy it, have fun, and find a way to make your team better on each snap, and just enjoy it out there. I mean, this is fun. I mean, this is a game that you decide to play as a kid because you thought it was fun. At the end of the day, that's what matters. And I expect all these guys to have that energy and play loose and play good football. So really excited for this ball game. I'll be covering, of course, and we'll be on the call with Andrew Davis and WSAV, and just really excited to join forces with them and call this game, and just really pumped and all these kids that have gotten these selections, they've earned it. I mean, this is a big honor to represent the Low Country and look to take home a win. So wish everyone the best of luck, and we can't wait to get out there on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. I'm going to get down on the Team Lowco sidelines and, get content galore and hang out with these guys one last time. These guys we've been covering for the past 2 or 3 or 4 years. And it's really fun. I mean, it's become something for me that is just like a cathartic experience. It's almost like a graduation or something. It's
Right.
a celebration with all these guys of their high school careers. And it's become really special. Last year I had to watch it on TV, which was not ideal, but was still a lot of fun. You guys did a great job with it. And it was a great time. So I'm hoping that, that they put on a great show. It's a competitive game. That's all you really hope for. Competitive game that has some intrigue in the fourth quarter. And we've been fortunate to have that just about every year. So looking forward to that one. One of the guys we'll see, hopefully, is Jaquin Williams from Bluffton, who just committed to North Greenville. So he's going to get an opportunity to continue to play at the next level. And then some more college football recruiting, I guess you would say, news. Theron Cannon, we got a little bit of a deke. I was led to believe he was going somewhere else, but I did know he had multiple offers. So Western Carolina is the landing spot for Theron. He's going to become a mountain man, a catamount up there in Western Carolina. Great landing spot for him. I think he's just going to be a mean dude on the offensive line wherever he goes and get after it. So great to see these guys find landing spots, assuming Jaquin does end up signing with North Greenville. Who knows? He could show out tomorrow and get some more offers that change his mind. But looking forward to seeing both these guys continue to play at the next level.
Yeah, you never know where you eventually end up, but great opportunities for both. And Jaquin Williams, really underrated piece of that Bluffton defense, and what a physical linebacker, extraordinary athleticism that he's shown throughout these last few years. And he really upped his game in the senior season. 134 total tackles this year, and really the leader of this defense alongside Jeremiah Curry. But the way he played, with his ability to read plays well and fly the ball, make tackles. I mean, what an impactful player that he was for Bluffton this year. And I think it's a great fit for him with the Crusaders if he decides to go that route. Division II team. They've been very competitive in the Gulf South Conference. And, a lot of credit you give to Hayden Gregory. I mean, I think he did a good job, instilling the way he wanted to coach this group. And I think that just elevated, Jaquin Williams to play even further. But Jeff Farrington has been over the school for 10 years now at North Greenville, and brought the squad to the Gulf South Conference level. And I think Jaquin should be able to compete right away for some time and move up the depth chart quickly. He's been a strong leader and a key impactful player for this Bluffton team. So hoping for the best for Jaquin, and for Theron Cannon, I think he's going to do some great things over in Western Carolina. Looking like he was going to go elsewhere. He gave us a little curveball there, but the Catamounts sold him over to Kolowohi to go up there to Western Carolina. And one of the most skilled, talented, and hard-working offensive linemen. And he's just an absolute dude that will play hard, maximum effort every play. And I'm really excited because I think he's got a lot of potential over there with the Catamounts. So, and that's the beauty of the transfer portal. I mean, you can kind of take the time to find the fit that's best for you. And we thought it was a different school, but all of a sudden it kind of decided to go a different way. So, I mean, that's something like you definitely can continue to think about what would be the best for you. And you think you find the best place, but then another opportunity comes along and you take advantage of it. So great for Theron Cannon. What a beast he was at the high school level over at Thomas Hayward, and continues to put in that same effort over in the college level. So congrats to Terrance, and I cannot wait to see what he does over there at WCU. He's going to put in the work from day one. I think he's going to find a lot of success over there.
He's a lot bigger and meaner dude than he was when he left Thomas Hayward. I'll tell you that right now. They bulked him up, and he's a rough-looking character. You don't want to mess with him, I promise. So, I think Western Carolina is going to be great for him. And Jaquin, I love the way he plays. I mean, I've loved the way he's played for a couple years now. I mean, just plays downhill. Like you said, he reads plays very well and moves side to side well. I think he's a real gem at the D2 level. I think they kind of stole one there. So good stuff there. And another Lowco guy who's showing out in college. Took a little time to learn the system and took the red shirt. But then once the red shirt came off for those last 4 games, Jalen Sneed looked like he's going to be a real key part of what Notre Dame wants to do. And he helped the Fighting Irish knock off the Gamecocks. Sorry, Gamecock fans, in the Gator Bowl. That was kind of adding insult to injury. But Jalen Sneed, I was a little concerned about him taking the red shirt and talked to his mom a little bit. And it was, some of the schemes were just stuff he hadn't seen before. Took a little bit of an adjustment period. But, man, it seems like once it clicked, he is really starting to adapt and adjust and get it. And he was really a factor the last few games of the season.
Yeah, I'm so happy for Jalen. I mean, it definitely was. There was some learning that he had to do when he went to the next level at Notre Dame. And I mean, you expect to have a slow start. I mean, the transition from the high school level from the South Carolina High School League to the top echelon of college football, it's never easy. But
yeah.
He's begun to show his potential in a big way, and he's been getting some rave reviews from fans, from media writers over there at Notre Dame to broadcasters. And they've been all impressed with his physicality and his work ethic and just that violent play that Coach BJ Payne always mentioned with him back at the high school level. And he's been gradually getting some more snaps, and he's really shown himself to be in the forefront and to be physically active out there on the field. And I think it's really shown with the effort that he's given so far when he's gotten the opportunities, and made 5 tackles against Boston College. And he made also a stop in that bowl game win against South Carolina. And like you said, just really high praise for his ability to make the right reads, to fly and make stops and to display that athleticism for this Notre Dame team. So I think he is going to be a big time impact player for this Notre Dame side going forward. If he does continue to stay with the Fighting Irish, you never know what's going to happen down the road, but it's a great start. And, I think he said it he in social media, he said he found the right spot. And, what a way to start off his career with that bowl game victory and well-deserved, playing a big part of that as well. So, all comes back to what BJ Payne, what he saw in him, the potential that he witnessed with Jalen Sneed. He told us, watch out for this Jalen Sneed kid. He's gonna be doing some big things. And once again, BJ Payne was right, and Sneed, an absolute star during his time. Hilton Head translated to college level at the top schools in the country in Notre Dame. So congratulations on an incredibly successful first year over there. And, I think potential is I think it's growing by the week for what Jalen Sneed can do, not just over at Notre Dame, but if he continues that. I mean, a lot of people slept on what Poona Ford was able to do. I think he'll kind of deliver and carry that same mentality, and he'll go as far as his hard work can take him. So congrats once again to Jalen, and already excited to see what he's going to do next fall over at Notre Dame.
No question. And speaking of Lowco guys who are starting to settle into their role, Nick Pringle at Alabama was kind of in the similar situation. I mean, they are absolutely stacked with talent and interchangeable parts, but, he was kind of on the back end of the rotation a little bit early on for a while, but starting to get some more minutes. And, man, that team is playing so well. And he had a couple games in a row with double-figure points. And is starting to just kind of figure out his role in the system a little bit better, I think. I haven't been able to watch him a ton, but I've caught a little bit of their games the past couple of weeks. Have you been able to see him, and what have you seen from Nick with the Tide?
Yeah, I mean, he's a fun player to watch over there, and he hasn't been getting as big minutes as maybe I thought, but I think it's mostly just because of how stacked that Alabama team is. I mean, It's when you have that strong of a roster. I mean, you're gonna. It's hard to move up in that rotation, but the time that he's been able to find on the court, he's made some impactful plays. Whether it's blocking shots, whether it's throwing balls down for dunks, or whether it's making some right reads and defending well. So I mean, I think he's starting to settle in. I think that there was an adjustment that he had to make, and we saw that throughout his career. And obviously didn't find the fit he went at Wofford, but ended up at Dodge City, and he was a star there, and kind of had an ability to reset and kind of figure out, okay, what do I need to do to get to that next level to succeed and thrive at Division One. And I think he's really starting to find it here, and just the resiliency that he's shown to be able to overcome some rough performances and find a way to get some good minutes and produce. I mean, a pair of back-to-back double-digit games for Nick Pringle a week or so ago, and you'd love to see that from him. And just goes back to the effort that he showed back at Dodge City, back at Whale Branch, and finding ways to get better. 14 points against Jackson State, and then 10 points at Mississippi State in SEC conference game. So really proud of what Nick Pringle needs to do. Really efficient from the field. He takes high percentage shots. He gets himself in the right place to make those plays. And, he's playing some good team basketball. I think that he's doing what's best for the team. And when his opportunity is there, he's going to take it, and he's going to make some highlight reel plays. And I'm looking forward to, he's been blowing up some social media too a couple times this season. So he's becoming a nice fixture there over at Alabama. And I'm just really excited to see how this team does this year, because I think that the depth, the high-end talent is all there for this Crimson Tide squad. And, the opportunity to potentially see Nick Pringle in NCAA March Madness. I mean, that would be a fun treat for us to watch him compete on the national stage. And we hope that Pringle will keep it up. And, once again, he bet on himself all the way back here, Seabrook, South Carolina. And guess what? He won at every step. And now he's playing for one of the top college basketball teams in the world.
Yeah, and there were a couple games early where we're going to see him in March Madness. I promise you that, because even if he's not on the floor, he's going to be number one cheerleader on the bench, because that's when I knew I wasn't worried about him. He wasn't getting a lot of minutes early. I was a little concerned, about him maybe kind of losing his spot in the rotation. And then I look over and somebody throws one down and they pan to the bench, and Nick Pringle is the number one cheerleader over there going crazy. And I'm like, nah, he's going to be fine. He's where he's supposed to be. So, love to see his success. There have been very few young men or women that I've covered in high school who made more of an impact on me personally, and developed more of a heartfelt personal relationship than Nick. And I really wish him well, and think that, big things are ahead in his future, whether it's in basketball or not. So great stuff there. So Wes, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, and then we'll come back and talk about some wrestling tournaments this weekend, and then get into some wrestling interviews with both Ashley Powell and Blake Maffei here on the LowcoSports Lowdown.
Hey Loco sports fans, this podcast and all of our grassroots local sports content are made possible by support from community sponsors, including Mickelson Law Firm, the official real estate attorneys of Loco Sports, and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. Our original sponsors are still among our greatest supporters. Ryan and Tiffany Mickelson are community pillars who will be in your corner no matter your legal needs. When you need legal representation, call on the attorneys who support Team Lowco. Call Mickelson Law Firm. Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, the official hospice provider of Loco Sports, and the only not-for-profit hospice in southern Beaufort County. For more than 30 years, the committed, compassionate staff at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry have been there to ensure your loved ones find comfort, honor, and dignity at the end of life. Because at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, it's not about dying, it's about living. Homegrown Home Inspections, the official home inspectors of Loco Sports. Jan Lucas and his team provide thorough, detailed home inspections aimed to ensure everyone goes into the transaction with open eyes and confidence. Jan would rather reveal an inconvenient truth than look the other way and provide reassurances that could come back to burn the buyer in the long run. If you're looking to buy or sell a home and need an honest, reliable inspector, call on Homegrown Home Inspections, official sponsors of Loco Sports. Star Home Services, official residential cleaning service of Loco Sports. When you just don't want to clean the house, call on Carla and her amazing team to do the dirty work. They'll get in and out in a flash and leave your house looking spotless, all at a price that fits your budget. The next time your space is a mess, call on Star Home Services, official residential cleaning service of Loco Sports. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Loco Sports. If your business or organization has a website and you're trying to figure out what SEO is, you need to call on Denise and Dave Sinkovich at DDS Web Design. They'll provide a free consultation and do all the behind-the-scenes work to boost your search engine optimization and get your website found online so you can take your business to the next level. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Loco Sports. American Wood Reface, sustaining sponsors of Loco Sports. Does your kitchen need a facelift? Before you start picking out new cabinets, give Ben and the team at American Wood Reface a shot. They can reface your existing cabinets to overhaul your aesthetic without the hefty price tag and reimagine your kitchen at a price point you can manage. Be sure to tell them Loco sent you, because every referral helps support Loco Sports. 4M Metals, sustaining sponsor of Loco Sports. Got metal? Your roof might need it. Metal roofing advantages include better energy efficiency, weather protection, longevity, a more aesthetically pleasing design, and the product is all green. So if you've been thinking about a new roof, go metal. Let 4M Metals be the difference in your roof. Jay's Barbershop. It's the talk of the town and the place to be in Ridgeland. If you need your ears lowered, head over to Jay's for a fresh cut and great conversation with good folks, and tell them Loco sent you. Local Pie, official pizza sponsor of Loco Sports. They sling some of the best pies in the Loco, and my kids say the mac and cheese is the best around. Hungry? Hit up Local Pie, longtime supporter of Loco Sports. Hilton Head Prep is a sustaining sponsor of Loco Sports, and we tell you all about the Dolphins' athletic exploits. But did you know it's also the #1 ranked private K-12 school in Beaufort County and ranks in the top 2.5% of schools nationwide? Visit hhprep.org to see what Hilton Head Prep has to offer. Beaufort Academy is a sustaining sponsor of Loco Sports, and we love covering the Eagles. With a student-to-faculty ratio of 7-1 and an average class size of 14 students, Beaufort Academy could be just the educational solution you're looking for, with more one-on-one attention. BA has a strong history of working with the whole child to prepare each student for college and life. Check them out at BeaufortAcademy.org. Thank you to all of our sustaining and supporting sponsors for their support of LowcoSports.com. Go Loco!
All right, time to talk some wrestling, Wes. Thanks so much to our sponsors once again, and speaking of which, thanks so much to our sponsor, Reverence Wrestling Club, which really stepped up to try to help us do more with our wrestling coverage these past couple of years. And so we're honored now that I had a chance to sit down last week with Blake Maffei, who founded Reverence Wrestling Club and is doing a terrific job of really building the grassroots youth wrestling program here in Bluffton, and we're also seeing kids coming in from all around the area to wrestle with them, as well as, shout out to the guys on Hilton Head doing a great job as well. But talking with Blake, it was really cool to speak with someone who's just see his dedication to really trying to help build the foundation for something special here. And, talking with people, I'm pretty sure Blake's coming out of pocket most months. I don't think he's, raking in the cash for what he's doing over there, but he's building something pretty special. And I think people will enjoy hearing from him here.
Yeah, he's doing yeoman's work with grassroots level growth of the sport and wrestling. I mean, it's such a great sport for these young men and young women, because girls wrestling has continued to become a big factor here in Low Country. Of course, they Estrada, the big name, but so many others we saw going at Hilton Head too with the new girls program. But it's a great sport to, good alternative to basketball for those who want to go a different route and want to grow themselves physically and mentally. I mean, there's mind games in wrestling as well. You got to be active. You got to be quick on your feet. And, so many skills are developed from the sport. And, Maffei's just doing a great job, growing it from the local level. And I think we're going to see the benefits of that paying dividends in 2, 3, 4 years down the road, where all these young kids are going to go up to the high school ranks and kind of show what they're made of and show what they've learned over these past few years. And we could see some exciting things in the coming years. The next decade could be a big one for wrestling the Loco. So, also thanks to what Maffei and what he's been doing to be that catalyst for this next generation, this next group of wrestling standouts to embrace the sport and to gain the skills necessary to compete at high levels. So I'm very excited, and I'm looking forward to hearing this interview.
All right, let's hear now from Reverence Wrestling Club's Blake Maffei here on the Loco Sports Lowdown.
Hey, Loco sports fans, all of our high school wrestling coverage this season is presented by Reverence Wrestling Club in Bluffton. Turn pain into power. Hit the mat at Reverence Wrestling Club. Call them at 1-814-WRESTLE or send email to info@reverencewrestling.com.
All right, excited to be joined now by my friend Blake Maffei, who we've gotten to know each other a little bit over the past couple of years, Blake, through the wrestling circle, and you kind of picked up where we left off to give people a little bit of background on kind of what the local youth wrestling scene has been like here. When I got here in 2005, there was really nothing here. I mean, there were a handful of people who were kind of out there doing their own thing, and it was the Wild West, and you had to travel upstate a lot. And, you've seen it slowly start to come together. And then back in, I guess, 2018 or so, my son got interested, and there was a little group on the island and a little group in Beaufort, but nothing in Bluffton. So Chad Cox and I worked with the guys at May River and got the Low Country Wrestling Club going. And then we kind of let it fall by the wayside when COVID hit, but you guys hit the ground running coming out of COVID at Reverence Wrestling Club. So, give us a little bit of history for folks who don't know it of how that thing grew up and how organic it was, and then how, you've been able to sustain it and where you guys are now with, a couple years under your belt with the club.
Yeah, sure. So first, very much appreciate the opportunity to talk about Reverence and wrestling in the area. It's very important for us to grow it because I think it creates a lot of opportunities for youth in the area and middle schoolers and high schoolers. But interestingly enough, we started it right as COVID hit. Everything got shut down, and there was kind of a still high demand for some of the more competitive wrestlers in the area in high school and middle school to try to continue. I think at the time, not everybody really knew how long COVID was gonna last for. So we were training kids going into that season at Riptide. So John Morris, who's the owner of Riptide, had allowed us to help train his son, and we had some of the other really solid wrestlers in the area going to Riptide. And what happened is we outgrew the space, and eventually we were like during COVID, we said, all right, well, we've outgrown the space. John's been kind enough to lend us half of his MMA club to use to train the kids, and we probably had about 15 people going through COVID that were still wrestling. And then we decided at that point, hey, we need there's a lot to this. Obviously it's the middle of COVID, but if we can get started now and get a foundation, and coming out of COVID, we should have, an opportunity to really grow wrestling. And so originally I was looking for a smaller space. And it was a very large challenge trying to actually find a space that would work for, a single 40 by 40 mat or so, and wound up with the facility we have right now, which is 3.5 college mats. So it's, I don't know, almost, so it's 1,600, 800, I don't know, 6,000 feet of mat space. So it's pretty large. And since then the way we set it up was multiple class types, with the idea of advancing students from 3 years old all the way up through the levels it takes through high school. So we have 4 classes now, plus a female only class. And surprisingly enough, it's growing faster than I think we ever expected it to. So I think by having the space and offering up the different class types, people from Bluffton and Beaufort and Hilton Head and Hardyville and Georgia, they're, anybody within about an hour away has the opportunity to come and train. I think there's higher demand than I thought there originally would be.
Kind of
so,
if you build it, they will come, right? I mean, you
apparently,
put the mats, roll out the mats, and they'll come get on them.
well, which is good because I think in this sport, I think it's especially in South Carolina, not having the historical legacy that some of the Northeastern and Midwest states have, going back to, for example, New Jersey, which is where I'm from. They've started wrestling in 1936. And so I think in South Carolina, we started maybe in the late 70s, if I have my dates right. So that's a lot of years of advancement, and it's generational up in the Northeast, and it's generational up in the Midwest. Where here we're starting to get our first generation of wrestlers, kids now entering the system. I think that plays a big role as well. So surprisingly, we have more kids than I thought we would, and that's a good. That's what we want. We want as many kids participating in the sport as possible, at least giving it a try, seeing if it's a sport for them. And the more we can give those opportunities, I think the faster we can grow it here, and hopefully accelerate and maybe catch up to some of those states that have those long-lasting legacies. It's going to be a lot of work and a lot of commitment from a lot of people, and it really is. I mean, at Reverence, I've got 12 different coaches helping out at different times on a volunteer basis. I've got coaches. Some are there where their kids are in the class. Some are across all classes. It's just a lot of people giving back to the community, which I think is a really good thing.
I know a lot of those people from, they got started with Low Country and then carried on with Reverence. And,
Absolutely.
It's very much a grassroots family atmosphere. Those folks are in the gym together every weekend and become, like family. So it takes a village, and you guys got a good one around you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So we have Skylar, who was over at Low Country. We have Tommy, who was helping you out for a while. I think Jake was there. Yeah. Tommy Heberer may wind up helping us out at some point. I know he's trying to get back into the group with his kids, and then we have a lot of people that have just moved in recently that have wrestling backgrounds from various parts of the state too. So I think all in all, the trajectory is a very good trajectory. We've got people moving in from out of state that have wrestling backgrounds, both at the coaching level and at the competition level, competitive level. We're trying to grow it at all levels. And if you see what the coaches are doing at River Ridge and Hilton Head and McCracken and Bluffton Middle School, I mean, it's all it's all moving in the right direction, which is helping us get numbers. The more numbers we have, it's a success breeds success kind of a thing. So.
Yeah, and you've got kids that you've trained and are training at high schools throughout the area, and we got to see a bunch of them on display this past week over at May River, which was a phenomenal event. I love what those guys are doing, bringing in teams from all over the Southeast every year for that event has been terrific. Iron sharpens iron type situation there. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about where you see the high school wrestling scene at right now. Obviously, we have more schools fielding programs than we ever had, although many of them, those lineups are not full. So if you're trying to become a varsity athlete, there's an opportunity out there for you on the boys side and now increasingly on the girls side. So, how have you seen the high school wrestling scene, improve and grow since you've been here, and where do you think we are right now?
Yeah, it's when we first started, there were a handful of wrestlers, I would say, at the kind of being competitive at the state level. Mm-hmm. And, a few years later, I feel like we have, not including some of the kids that come over from Georgia, there's 8 to 10 athletes in our at Reverence alone that I think have a chance to win. And if not win, be in the finals of the states. And, that comes down to, while we have a great wrestling system and while we have great coaches, a great facility, it comes down to the athletes putting in the time on the mat outside of the high school. Now they're getting a lot of good work in at the high schools, but it's 3 or 4 months out of the year and then maybe another month in the summer when they're allowed to do it then. And so I think this is a really good adjunct to help these athletes get additional technique throughout the year, so that when they're going into the season, they really haven't lost anything from the past season. So they're kind of just elevating themselves and growing year over year. And so we have some solid athletes. I think Santi Guerrero has a good shot. We've got Gabe Juarez. We've got Isaiah Wysong, who just did really well at the May River Invitational. Emilio Mendoza, Sam and Gunner have an awesome chance from Battery Creek. So and this is good. I mean, that's what we want, because ultimately, if you look at our webpage, my thing is, how do we create opportunities for these athletes and getting them into colleges that they may not have ordinarily been able to get into, and maybe for some of them, they get some scholarship opportunities too. So to me, that's what it's about, is getting them a choice. When I was fortunate enough to have parents that were very supportive of me, and they took me to a club, which was one of the first clubs in wrestling that was ever existed. It's up in New Jersey, Edge Wrestling, and I'm just super fortunate. Had a great coach up there, and starting in 7th grade or 6th grade, I think it was, when I started there. I learned enough in the sport, from a mindset perspective, from a technical perspective, that it put me in a position to myself win the states, and I think it was 3-time state placer. But that being, having those opportunities to place in the states gave me the opportunities to get into colleges that it would have been, I probably would not have gotten into several of them, and without the sport. And so it just gives opportunities, and I'm super thankful, because everything moving on, my life cascaded from that. And so, it's one of those things that I didn't necessarily think about maybe in my 20s and early 30s, but as I've gotten into my 40s, I'm like, wow, I really had some opportunities, and I hope we can give those to our high school athletes as well. So we spent the last couple of years focused on getting the facility in shape. So our facility is now, in place. Mats are up. We've got, operational systems in place and all that kind of stuff. And so now I think the rubber meets the road, and we can really, really focus on wrestling. And I think that'll even advance kids faster, I hope. So.
Well, as you know, that's a big part of our mission too, is just shining a light on these kids and what they're doing, and helping them find the path to those opportunities and to become, to reach their full potential. So we'll definitely be working with you down the road in that space, and trying to identify those kids who just need a few more resources to be able to get where they want to go, and help them get there. So we appreciate everything you're doing on that front. That's good stuff. And we look forward to, to seeing you out on the mats, on the mat side some more this season. I'm really looking forward to next week. We're going to have that May River versus Hilton Head match. And, Hilton Head wasn't at full strength this last weekend. Maybe holding the cards a little close to the vest, not wanting to show too much. I don't know. There's always a little gamesmanship going on there, but how excited are you to see those two go head to head again next week?
I am. Last year was it came down to the wire.
Yeah, it did.
This year, I don't know if they have as much depth as they had as last year at Hilton Head.
Yeah.
May River's depth is about the same, maybe a weight or two shy of where they were last year in terms of the experience of the wrestlers, but it's going to be a good one. I think there's great fans from both sides, great coaches from both sides, and I think there's a lot going on the island. There's a lot going on out on the mainland, if you will, and I think the rivalry and the competitive nature is making everybody better. You want to have each, organizations pushing each other. And I think that's what's happening. And I think it's making, again, which is going to lead to opportunities for these kids down the road. So I'm excited for it. It's good. Honestly, I don't know Hilton Head's lineup well enough I haven't gone through the, how do you match up? I know there are some weights that May River is extremely strong in. And there's definitely some weights that Hilton has extremely strong in, and then it's from there I'd have to break down, but it's going to be a good one. I'm excited to see it. So,
well, you can't really break it down until you know what weight we're starting at and who wins the flip, right? I mean, that kind of sets the tone for everything, and sometimes they get a little too cute with that and end up biting themselves. So I love it. I love the chess match, and it's going to be a ton of fun. And like you, I love the kind of friendly rivalry there that. There's a rivalry, but everybody is in it for the same reason at the end of the day. And they all kind of look out for each other's kids and pump up each other's kids. It's I always say rising tides lift all boats. And I think we definitely have that kind of grassroots community thing going in the wrestling scene here in the Low Country. And I think you guys are kind of the cornerstone of it right now. So we appreciate your support as a sponsor, but more importantly, we appreciate what you're doing for the kids and giving them these opportunities. So thanks a lot for sitting down with us and keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, thank you. Same to you. You guys are the dispersion of information that you guys are doing at Loco Sports is really awesome. And then as somebody who's focused on wrestling, for me to be able to go hit it and say catch up on all the other sports across the area is really good. So stop in anytime. We can always use you on the mat if you want to come in, Justin. So
yeah, man, I was not a great wrestler, but I know the sport. I was a good enough wrestler in Kansas. I would have been pretty good here, but I know the sport in and out, and I definitely enjoy watching the kids wrestle and especially watching the kids who are new to it and how quickly they progress. I mean, the kid Caden McCollum at May River, from last year to this year, just the huge jump that he's made, and he's just one case study. There's tons of them. He's one that caught my eye.
I mentioned some of the heavy hitters we've been training for a couple of years, but Caden is one that we've had for about a year, and he's put in the year-round work. Man. You have Josh Echeverria.
Oh, I was just going to mention him too. I figured he must be yours because he's made a light years jump this year.
Yeah, he in my opinion, should not have lost the match he lost to, who was last year's state champion, I think. So, and he lost 2-0, and I think had he connected a couple of, and I think that was an experience thing, but had he connected a couple of things in his head, which comes with experience, I think he would have taken the other guy down a couple of times. So he's right there in the hunt. You got Michael Sands, who's put in work with us now for a year, and things are starting. This is just a process of just connecting all the dots, and it just it happens overnight for very few people. Or in a couple months. Like they have to be superstar athletes and just have a different mindset to really connect all the dots immediately. It's a process. If you listen to Kerry Kola, he says it's a 3 to 6 year process to create a wrestler. 3 to 6 year process to create a wrestler who knows truly how to wrestle. And Kerry Kola was, I believe, one of the best. He's kind of in my generation. He and I are the same age. I got to wrestle side by side with him in tournaments, as I was in college and some of the youth tournaments. So I got to watch him, and he was just a very, very, very good wrestler. And so I kind of trust, and he's coaches at the Navy now, and has done a very good job in the sport of wrestling. And so, I kind of agree with his thought process is that, to get to true kind of elite level wrestling, it's a 3 to 6 year process. And for some of these kids to be turning it around as quickly, to advance as quickly as they have is really good. And that's a testament to the work they're putting in. So there's no, absolutely. I say this in a lot of my emails, there's no substitute for hard work.
Absolutely. So, the harder you work, the luckier you get. That's a song lyric from one of my favorite bands. So
I like that. So
true as it can be. Well, I appreciate you, man, and keep up the good work over there, and we'll see you out on the mat.
All right, thanks, Justin. You have a good one.
All right, we'll be right back with more here on the Loco Sports Lowdown.
All right, good stuff there from Blake, and we really are seeing the benefits of this program already. Even just having a place for the elite high school guys from different schools around the area to come together and work out together in the off season and sharpen their skills. I mean, we've seen so many kids, a few that we talked about there in the interview, who have just made huge leaps from year over year, and then we just see the top level getting better and better. I mean, you look at Colton Ferris, who's back on the mat now for Beaufort, and Gabe Juarez and Isaiah Weissong and May River are just dominating really good wrestlers. And so I think the ceiling has been raised already, and I think we're going to see more kids getting closer to that ceiling as we continue to go along here. But speaking of which, May River finished fourth at their own tournament, the Shark Invitational, which was monstrous. 35 teams from 5 states. I mean, some serious competition with both Weissong and Juarez winning individual titles. And then the Sharks go and win the Dreher Blue Devil Invitational this weekend with a strong performance. And they had a few champs in that one as well. West, the usual suspects for the most part. We had, let's see here. Isaiah Weissong at 138, the champ. Santiago Rueda, who actually did take a loss at the Shark Invitational, surprisingly. He had 4 pins on the way to the title at 152. Gabe Juarez, 3 pins and a decision to win at 170. And then Emilio Mendoza finished second at 126. And Will Morrow, fourth at 220. But the way he did it, he lost his first match and then pinned 4 guys in a row to get to the consolation finals and then lost that one. But that takes anybody who's ever wrestled knows you get in the backside of the bracket that early and you got to win them all. That is a daunting task. And he did a heck of a job to do it. So great performance there. The Coach Trap duels were at Battery Creek on Saturday. Beaufort came in strong and finished second, going 3-2 on the day. And John Paul II was fifth. I have not heard back from Coach Rutherford yet. He's probably sleeping it off after hosting that big tournament all day. But Battery Creek must have been in the 3rd and 4th place match somewhere. So good showings there. And again, like I said, Ferris is back. He's at 182. I wasn't sure he would be able to get to 182 this season or not, but he's going to be a real problem there. And he went undefeated on Saturday. So we got some really good looking wrestlers out there this year. And I'm excited for some great matchups this week, including that Hilton Head May River matchup that Blake and I talked about.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be exciting. This is the time of year where we start getting a lot more of those local on local battles, and should get some good ones coming up. But, great result for this Beaufort team. I mean, John Betchtold, Langston Simmons, Ian Newell, Jack Miller, and, of course, Colton Ferries, who was the star on the gridiron, led the Eagles, of course, to that first state championship in over 70 years, and now he's back on the wrestling mat and picking up some more dubs. So good to see Colton Ferries back out there, and a good result all the way around for this Beaufort side. And and then May River, I mean, just continuing their dominance on the mat, back-to-back state final appearances these last 2 years. Ashley Powell continuing to do great things over there, and Isaiah Weissong, Santiago Rueda, Gabe Juarez, all with victories, all with championships. And then Mendoza second, you mentioned, and then Will Morrow. I mean, that's a hard road to come back from after losing that first match. It is not easy, but to get back there and earn a 4th place finish. I mean, God, the perseverance and just the willpower to pull that off. Really impressive. And that does wonders for your psyche and your confidence moving forward in this wrestling season. So more good things should be in store for Will Morrow and this entire May River wrestling squad. And another public or another loco school that has been doing some great things in the wrestling circuit has been JP2, because the Golden Warriors ended up going 3-2 in the Coach Trap duels. And, the competition was stiff, but they were able to win 2 in a row, and then they took 5th place. So Daniel Snyder, Peter Tornese, and Cole Woodham all with strong performances over there for JP2, 14-5 overall in dual meets this season. So excellent job from the Golden Warriors. That's a team with a strong history over these past few years of putting up great results in wrestling. So good to see from JP2, and they're going to be taking on Beaufort High for a tri-match on Wednesday. So a lot of local and loco wrestling coming up, which is great for us and awesome for these student athletes as well to go up against local competition. I mean, that just raises everybody's game, and iron sharpens iron. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, no doubt. And, JP2, great shout out there because Bill Demude, obviously a legend, coached at Beaver High for years and years. And I think he's in the South Carolina Wrestling Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He's done a phenomenal job from the outset there of building up that program. And the fact that a school that size is able to fill as many spots in the lineup as they do is really impressive. Private schools usually can't compete in a dual match with very many public schools just because they don't have the numbers. They can't fill all the weights. But JP2 always seems to be right there in the mix. So, Coach Demude does a terrific job of recruiting the hallways and getting kids to buy in. And then he's a terrific coach. So great job there. And speaking of those May River Sharks, though, let's talk a little bit with Ashley Powell because we caught up with him last week before the Shark Invitational, get a little preview. So we cut out some of that stuff, but we did have some great stuff in there just about May River Wrestling and the job that he's done to build that foundation. Another guy who's been with the program since the start and making it to the state championship match the last couple of years. Obviously, still a lot of work to go to get on Eastside's level. Nobody in this state has been on that level ever, and I'm not sure they will be in anytime soon, at least. But May River's been kind of the gold standard in the lower state, and Ashley Powell's done a great job of building that program. So let's hear from him now. We talked with him last week. Let's hear it now on the LowcoSports Lowdown.
All right, Loco sports fans, we are going to talk a little bit of wrestling today. We got Coach Ashley Powell from May River High School. Let's pivot a little bit and just talk about wrestling in the Low Country and the growth that we've seen, here over the past few years, and where you see it going, because it seems like all those newcomer programs are starting to get their feet under them a little bit.
Yeah, it's been amazing, and we're always supportive of those new schools, particularly those private schools who are trying to create a program to give those kids an opportunity, because I feel very strongly about the importance of wrestling and what it does for young men and builds them and women as well, and core values that you learn from the sport, dedication, commitment, sacrifice, team. There's so much, and for those schools to add it just gives those young men and women at those schools another opportunity to get a very, very valuable life lesson, I think, that the sport of wrestling provides. So we're ecstatic about the growth of our sport. Ryan Hummel just came back to our room 2 days ago. He was our first ever wrestler at May River, and I'm not sure that if it wasn't for him, we would ever have a program. Obviously would, but he recruited the hallways for us. He made sure we had kids on our team, and we started off with about 17 or 18 our first year and dropped down to about 16, I think, we ended the season, and right now we have about 38. So, it is a growing sport. It is a tough sport. It demands a lot. What people don't realize is, we practice all the way up till the Thursday before Christmas, and we had to practice the Monday after Christmas, literally the day after. We have to practice right up till Thanksgiving or the Sunday after Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? So it takes a lot of commitment from parents to understand the value of it, but I think people are figuring that out now, how incredibly important and valuable the sport of wrestling is. So we're incredibly thankful for the new schools around us and wrestling.
It's great to see it come full circle, beating someone who started the program, did a lot of the work early on, recruited the hallways, and to see him back and to see how far this program has come, it's got to be really special for you. And you guys have had a heck of a run recently of these past 2 years, a pair of state championship appearances, a couple of tough losses to Powerhouse and Eastside. It looks like you guys got a lot of that core back ready to take on another season. Just tell me about what you've seen from this group so far early on and how excited you are to really get things kicking into high gear once you get into January and February.
Yeah, we it always means a lot to our program to have those kids back, man, because they're the foundation. We never want to forget about them. And we take pride in being a family. We've had a lot of kids come back over the holidays, and they text all the time and communicate and check on us. And wrestling is a family sport, and it's really, really tight. You spend a lot of times on buses together, in hotel rooms, at tournaments all day. So the sport itself generates that. But, this year, we've got a couple of seniors who've been around for a long time, have been very successful in our program. They're leading us. We're trying to get them to bring along our younger guys. While the sport's growing, we just talked yesterday about about our youth and why that's going to be so important moving forward, because we still have 8 starters in our lineup who have never wrestled prior to coming to May River High School. So while we're seasoned and we got some veterans, we still have people who are very young to the sport. So we can, our youth and our middle schools are doing a phenomenal job all across Beaufort County with getting those people in here. If we're trying to get healthy right now. We got a couple kids out. Hopefully we can get healthy, get some weight right, stay healthy, and fix a little bit of technique stuff. This is all basics. At the end of the day, hopefully we can compete for a region championship and get in the playoffs and see what happens. Our region is very tough, man. Hilton Head has given us all we wanted the last couple of years. They're well coached. They do a good job. They got a lot of really good wrestlers back. I think the absolute sleeper, in my opinion, is Lucy Beckham. I've known Coach Hansen for a long time. They're a very, very, very solid program. They're young. They got kids in the right weights. They're tough. They're scrappy. They're going to be a hard out. Bluffton's doing a great job of getting their program. Coach Nutter's done a terrific job of bringing those kids back out and getting kids out and excited. And then we added Lugoff Elgin to the lower state and their perennial power. When I was in high school, we lost to them 4 straight times in the lower state championship when I was in high school myself. So they're never an easy out. They're well coached, and they got some tough kids. So it's going to be tough moving forward, but hopefully we can start peaking at the right time, get healthy, and see what happens.
Yeah, and you talk about the youth and the people who are doing the work there. One of our great supporters and sponsors has been Reverence Wrestling Club, and man, I mean, can't say enough about what Blake has done to build a foundation for youth wrestling in the area. I mean, you were involved when we tried to get the Low Country Wrestling Club off the ground for a couple of years, and we had some success, and then COVID hit. But man, Blake came out of COVID blaring and building something really special, and you've seen that kind of filter out to the other folks who are doing it too, in pockets that they're picking up on some of the stuff he's doing. And we're seeing this whole thing, kind of raise up together. How excited are you? Because, I mean, for me, when I first got here, there was no youth wrestling. And I knew from growing up in Kansas that's how the strong programs were built, was on youth programs. So I was just kind of dumbfounded. But we've seen that now start to get established. How excited are you to see these kids who are now coming into the middle school with experience and then coming out of the middle school with a ton of experience ready to be high school wrestlers?
Yeah, I can't say enough about Blake and Adam over for getting Reverence rolling. And it's not just about our kids, man. They serve a lot of kids, and it's about youth. But most importantly, man, that's a guy who's been successful and made a name for himself and done right, but he has never forgotten the value of wrestling and what it meant to him. And, he doesn't make a whole lot of money, if money at all, from his club. He is literally just trying to serve the kids and the coaches in our community around the state to provide those kids with the best opportunity to get better and keep them involved. Because at the end of the day, we know those are so important life lessons and keeping kids out of trouble and keeping them occupied and helping them make the right decisions. So we're incredibly thankful for him for getting that youth stuff started over there at Reverence Wrestling Club. And our middle schools have stepped up, man. I could go on for days and talk about every middle school coach that I know in the district who has sacrificed a lot of their time and resources just to get kids out, recruit the hallways, and get those kids who've never done it before. Because, I've seen it before, man. I had a high school teammate he played basketball. We needed a 106-pounder, and we had a chance to win a state championship. And he played basketball, and he was a freshman, and we begged and begged and begged the basketball coach to cut him from JV, and he was the best JV player on the team. But we begged him, and finally, I was a junior, and he cut him, and he came to wrestle for us as a freshman, ended up finishing second in the state, and went to be a Division II national champion. And that is a very, very true story. So it's never too late to get started, but starting early sure does help. So we're appreciative of everybody who's involved at that youth level.
I love that. I mean, that's what it's all about, and just love to see the passion from someone who wants to do whatever he can to help the next generation of star wrestlers and star athletes achieve those goals and get them into wrestling, because it's a great sport. It promotes so much good cross training for those who want to do some different sports, and it's just an awesome alternative to I mean, instead of playing basketball, it's a different opportunity for you to grow physically, to grow athletically, and grow as a person. So I think wrestling is a great opportunity for so many young men. And the key word you said when you were talking earlier, also women, because girls wrestling has continued to grow here in the Low Country. A lot of it thanks in part to Zaya Estrada, who has emerged on the national scene for what she has done, and we've seen what Hilton High is starting to do with the girls wrestling program. And I gotta think the future of girls wrestling in particular is so bright as well, especially here in the Low Country, but I think in the state of South Carolina as well, with what we saw last year, I believe, with that female champion.
Yeah, she's done a phenomenal job. Zayo, she's an awesome young lady. She's been a great face for our state and the country, to be honest with you, in terms of women's wrestling. So she's done a lot to help promote it, and Hilton Head does an incredible job over there of doing that. So yeah, man, I think women's enrollment. We did a study, got them back a couple weeks ago. I think it's doubled this year, so it's definitely moving in the right direction. They're a big cause of it, that's for sure.
Do you have any girls in your room right now? I know it seems like it kind of snowballs. As soon as you get a couple in there, then it loosens it up. But
we had two, and timing and scheduling, and one of them was very, very involved in a military thing that they had to do, and we couldn't work it out, and we tried, and she wanted to continue, and she was going to be really, really good, but more importantly, was an awesome young lady. And the other one had some job issues related to it. So we've had them in there. We haven't had, a lot of success with, adding, growing to it. But, we have had them in the room. But, obviously we would love to have them. It's growing, and they added a new dynamic to a team, which I think is always good.
Very good.
Yeah, June Welch of Woodruff was the girl I mentioned earlier, who was the first to win a South Carolina High School League individual championship last winter. So that was a big milestone, and I think she's going to be the first of many to take home titles on the girls' side. But going back to this May River team, I mean, you guys have had a lot of strong wrestlers come through, a lot of great leaders. Eli Hall comes to mind, among others. Just tell me about how this program has evolved around the years, and how those senior leaders have really, just carry the torch and keep this program rising to what you're seeing now here, both at May River and just like the strength of the top wrestling programs here in the Loco, with Hilton High also becoming continue to be a power as well. But this May River team, just really, really impressive the way you guys have continued that steady growth.
Yeah, I think it starts with our assistant coaches, man. I'm incredibly blessed with the people that we have working with us, our kids. But we create a family atmosphere where kids care about one another. And we've had great leaders, and it also helps when your leaders are sometimes your best wrestlers. That is incredibly helpful sometimes. And we've been very lucky with the leaderships of the Ryan Hummels, the Rod Grants, the Eli Halls, the Kylan Prescott Fergusons, the Santiago Ruedas, the Isaiah White Songs, the Gabe Juarez's of the world, the Rodney Romeros. I mean, I could list a bazillion, the Anthony Nelsons. There's so many, and we're incredibly thankful for them, and they've passed the torch, man, and they still keep track of our kids, so the kids know that they have a standard to uphold. So we've been very lucky there.
Yeah, I mean, I like how you just keep naming dudes. Like Anthony Nelson, I ran into him the other day, as a matter of fact. But that's one of the beauties of it, I think, is to see the longer you're involved, you see these guys go on, and whether they go on and wrestle at the next level or become a master barber like Anthony Nelson, whatever they do, you get to go see them go out and become men, or when you start to get some more girls in the room, become women and become leaders in our community. So, I mean, I think that's the underrated part of what you guys do as coaches in all sports is really just, shaping our young people. So we thank you so much for what you're doing there.
And there's and it's not necessarily May River right now, but there's no better example than what I'm talking about. I'm actually on the way, once I get done talking, I'm on the way to One Hot Mamas. We got 3 kids that play football and wrestled for me and Coach Bonneville and Coach Summers at Westwood High School, who have driven down. One is graduated from Clemson, engineer in Charlotte. One graduated from the Citadel, owns his own gym in Charleston, and one is in the military, currently stationed in Fort Bragg. And they are all meeting us at One Hot Mamas today to eat lunch here in about 15 minutes, and then come over to the school and kind of check us out. But they make it an annual tradition to come down and visit us. And it's because, and that's what makes us keep going, is things like that. I mean, 3 kids, young men who have went beyond our sport and they're doing great things, but all want to come back, and we greatly appreciate it. So as soon as I get off the phone with you, I'm headed there to grab me some lunch with those guys.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. And don't be worried about going to May River. Coach is not sick. He's allergic to every kind of grass on the planet.
I am allergic to every kind of grass, man. I have no idea. I thought I had it fixed for about 25 years now, and it keeps coming back, so I can't figure it out. But we're good to go.
He's sick. He's just coughing from the grass. So get out to May River, watch some wrestling. It's going to be great. And
hey, thank y'all for so much y'all do for locally, not only for wrestling, but for all sports, man. All coaches are incredibly appreciative of the time and dedication that y'all put in to spotlight these kids, and we can't thank you enough.
Thanks so much, Coach. We'll see you on the other side.
Thank y'all. Thank you. Yes, sir. Bye.
Be right back with more on the Loco Sports Lowdown. All right, Wes. Once again, Coach Powell, terrific work over there at May River, not only as a coach, but putting together that tournament, man. It's we talk about Yeoman's work with Terrance Ashe and that Border Bowl. Same thing. To put together a wrestling tournament of that magnitude is just an incredible amount of work. And then you got to go out there and do your job and coach your guys in the most competitive environment they'll be in all year. So love what that guy's doing, and love this May River wrestling team once again this year. I think they're going to go deep into the playoffs.
I totally agree. I mean, that's a stacked roster once again this year, and great coaching from Coach Powell. And I just love the camaraderie that this team has shown throughout the last few years, and the way that former alumni have come back and supported the team, and continuing to show that energy, just building the program, better, leaving it better than you left it. And we kind of can see that for a couple of those former stars that have gone on to do great things at the next level, or no matter if they kept doing wrestling or decided to move on and continue to shine elsewhere. But, I'm just really impressed by the way that program has really, found a way to take steps forward. I mean, it's going to be tough to knock off Eastside. It's been Eagles have been an absolute powerhouse in wrestling over there in Class 4A. So it's going to be tough to take down the Eagles. But even so, I mean, they have been, you mentioned the gold standard, and the power has certainly shifted to their direction. Hilton Head, the time Hilton Head was the wrestling powerhouse, but it's I mean, May River as by far has been the team that others have been trying to catch here in the Loco now. And Isaiah Wysong, Santra Ruega, Gabe Horace, a lot of that leadership has been there for a while now, and they're being motivated to go on another run. And what an impressive performance at a big time event. I mean, against a couple of really strong schools, Clover, Ainer, South Aiken, White Knoll. I mean, these are some of the top competition that you'll see in South Carolina wrestling. So to do that and to come out on top, I mean, that is a statement to this entire wrestling city of South Carolina that this May River team, they are considered among one of the most elite in the area. So, I mean, just a job well done once again by Coach Powell. I love how animated he gets we got some good footage from him these last few years about when he gets psyched up, and hope to see that again on the sidelines as we get ready to cover another playoff run over at the Shark Tank.
He lost his dang mind when they beat Hilton Head last year. I never seen anything like it. He was putting on some moves, man. It was something else. But he's a good dude and doing good work over there. Very passionate guy. Whether he's on the football sidelines, coaching defense or on the wrestling mat, he's into it. He's given as much as they are most of the time. So good stuff. But he can't stop coughing. That grass. It's just it's a bugaboo. Well, one thing left to do, Wes, and that's to name our teams of the week. And we each pick a boys team and a girls team, and I give you the first crack at it. So hoping you don't take my picks. Who you got?
All right, I'm going to go with for my boys team. I will take the Hilton Head Christian County boys. What a start that they have had over there. 12-2 overall to begin this 2022-23 season. Jason Gurkmeyer, he's done a tremendous job, and this team has taken a huge monster step forward, just coming off a nice 59-37 win over Bullock Academy on the road, and they've won, I believe, 6 in a row now as they continue to delve into region play. But this has been an excellent start for a team that has really grown on all phases, and Katie Turner has really taken another step forward alongside Isaiah Anderson, who's obviously been so big in post. But the big story has been Elijah White, who has come in and has taken things by storm over there. What a dynamic scorer that he has been. But then you got some role players too, like Wells Sharp, who we've seen hustle on the football field, on the baseball field, and on the basketball court too, and a nice outside shooter as well. And just love the way that he plays and what the potential that he brings to his game. Big Brady Bagenstos as well. So. And then, of course, Harry Skinner, who's been a sensation himself as a freshman, had a nice game his last outing and continues to be a big piece over there. So really excited for what he's going to do over these future games. And I cannot wait for Hilton Head Christian Academy and the potential that they may have as they head towards the playoffs. So really excited for them. And then for my girls' team of the week, I am going to go with the Bluffton Bobcats. I got to see them in person, just open their region slate with a big-time win over Lucy Beckham. And, that was they've had some hard-fought games over these last few weeks and some battles, but they've continued to find ways to win. And, Takoya Hayward, I mean, what a stud she continues to be with her ability to spot open players for some passes. I mean, her vision and her ability to read the floor and be that elite floor general has really picked up a big time over this past season so far. And that was a tough Lucy Beckham team. They had to fight hard for that. And a big run late in that game, coupled with some excellent defensive stops, pushed them to the win. But I mean, you go back to what they did in the Bobcat Classic. They beat Section from Alabama. They took down East Hickman County, and they lost to South Forsyth in the championship. But no shame in that. That South Forsyth team was absolutely stacked and losing just by 10. That just proves on the third night of 3 games in 3 days. I mean, after they were in a war with East Hickman County to get to that championship game, just proves their tenacity and their ability to just keep fighting in there. And they're just so scrappy. They'll fight for loose balls. They'll get rebounds. If they can find a way to improve the outside shooting, they can be really dangerous in region play and in the postseason. But I think the key is to be able to use your stars to your advantage, and Takoya Hayward has been that. And then they've got some youth in there as well with Amira Brown, just an 8th grader, and she's been an absolute star. And then don't sleep on the abilities of Jelena Mosley, who really has become a nice standout, rebounding the ball, finishing up in close. And I think she was a big difference maker in that region opening win. So you can't forget about her. And then Maddie Washington, although she's had a little bit of inconsistency, she's been able to do some good things in the post, get rebounds, and a nice contributor as well. So I like the way this Bluffton team is shaping up. I think they're better than they were a year ago. I think Amira Brown has had a huge impact on that. And then I think Takoya Hayward's really stepped up in multiple facets of her game. And so we'll see how this team does. I think they should have the inside track to locking up another region title, and we'll see how the chips fall when we get in the postseason. But this is a team that's continuing to narrow that gap between them and some of these best teams in the state. And I'm sure Takoya Hayward and this Bobcat team would love to get over the hump here in 2023.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned Mosley, because she's kind of the unsung hero. I mean, she's really valuable. She's averaging, going into Friday night, she was averaging 9 points and 7 boards. And I mean, those are serious numbers for a team that plays in the 30s and 40s. Like that's pretty good. They limit the possessions. I think she's an underrated piece there. And Amira has definitely helped in a number of aspects. I mean, you've got more kids who can create off the dribble, who can hit a 3-pointer. So I think and Maddie's going to get better and better as she gets closer to full strength. She's not fully, she's not 100% by any means. So I think this is the best equipped team they've had. And I think they're, poised to get over that hurdle, but there's some psychological trauma there. So we'll see what they can do to get over that and move on. But I think if they can get past that first one or the first couple of rounds, then all bets are off and they can become really dangerous. One of the cats just fell off the chair over here.
All right. Well, for my teams of the week, Wes, I'll start with the girls actually, and go with Buford Academy because this is a team that they challenged themselves pretty good early, and they lost 5 of their first 6 or 6 of their first 7 with 2 games against Hilton Head, 1 against Fort Dorchester. They lost 1 at Palmetto Christian that they'd probably like to have back. They also played Lucy Beckham. I mean, they really played a murderer's row early on. And you're starting to see it come back and pay off now because now they've won 6 out of their last 7 to even their record. Made it to the finals at the Colleton Prep tournament and played Orangeburg Prep really tough. And then took down Colleton Prep, John Paul II, and Holy Trinity this week. And the JP2 win is the one that catches your attention because JP2 was 7-1, and we were kind of wondering about their strength of schedule, but we knew that they were going to be pretty good. And Buford Academy coming out and beating them 41-37 is really impressive. And the thing that I really want to focus on is Talia Hayward, because that kid is on a dang mission right now. She was a beast in that tournament. She went over 1,000 points in the championship game, and then she's been over 20 every game this week. So she is lighting it up, playing with just an incredible tenacity and energy. And I think this is going to be a team that you look at that reconfigured Skiza 2A now, and they're going to be right there. And I think Patrick Henry is going to be right there with them because those 2 teams played a dogfight of a game last week. So I like BA a lot and Skiza 2A. I think they're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think, certainly benefiting from being a step below some of those, of course, Hilton Christian coming now in 3A, and I think it can help BA make a deep run this year. And Talia Hayward, what a star that she has become, and absolute menace on defense with her ability to swipe the ball away with those quick hands, and then her speed to make it a track meet, get to the rim, so crafty down close to the basket, and a nice outside shooter as well. So she's really got it all. Every aspect of her game is taken to another level in this past year, and just a complete player and an excellent leader for this BA team. And of course, you got Michaela Washington, who's also still a lights out scorer, and then you got some young pieces as well. I've stepped into. So I really like the way this BA team is looking early on in region play, and this is a team that can certainly get hot in the postseason and run past a bunch of their competition. So love the way BA's playing, and looking for them to make a run here in February. So love the pick there, and it could be a big couple of weeks for our Skiza teams. Buford Academy girls, Hilton Head Christian Academy girls, Hilton Head Christian Academy boys, Hilton Head Preps boys. So I'm already looking to the Hilton Head Prep, Hilton Head Christian Academy boys game. But man, we've got some exceptional teams so far early on.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to keep it there with my boys team, even though I saw some real good ones, especially last night, Whale Branch and Wade Hampton. I love both of those teams, but I got to shout out this week because Patrick Henry's boys went 3-0, and they beat up on Cross. That was expected. Noah Altman got his 1,000th point in that game, so that was cool. That's a feather in your cap for a team of the week. And then Bethesda, they got Bethesda at home, smoked them by 18. That's always a good win when you beat Bethesda. And then they played Andrew Jackson Academy, which is supposed to be one of the best teams in Skiza, and was 14-1 coming in. And Patrick Henry put it on them 81-67. Huge game again from Altman, who has had just a phenomenal week. He had, I want to say 18 against Cross. And then on Friday night against Bethesda, my man had 17.7 boards and 5 steals. And then on Saturday against AJ, he had another monster game, 19 points and 21 rebounds for Noah Altman. So he is going off. Rowan Croft is playing great too. The Ferry twins, they've got a talented squad, and I really like their coaching staff. I think they prepare them well. And, I think I saw them against Hilton Head Christian early, and they gave the Eagles some problems in the first half. And now they're starting to play even better basketball. So I think this is a team we're going to need to keep an eye on, Wes.
Oh, for sure. Altman has been the truth so far, putting up some ridiculous numbers. You mentioned what he's been able to do on the court, but what a spark plug that he has been this Patrick Henry side. And, this is a team that we certainly didn't have on our radar as a team that could make some noise. But, man, what a week over there for PHA, and really excited to cover them. And, it's been cool to be able to, Wade Hampton, Patrick Henry, all these Hampton County teams to take them under our wing and to see what they can do this year. And Patrick Henry has been off to a heck of a start, and I'm hoping I can see as many teams as I can in person. Sometimes it's hard to make it out to some of those games all the way there, but maybe I'll be able to find a way to get to one. And who knows, this with a strong core led by Altman, this and Forrest Ferry, who's also been a strong contributor as well. Maybe this team can make that deep run and keep finding ways to improve. So love the start the PHA has been having over there. The Patriots have been on a tear to begin the season, and like I said, I mean this Skeeza, it's easy to sleep on the Skeeza talent here, but we got a bunch of it so far early on in the year, and we could bring home some hardware at the end of it.
Hey, don't sleep on it. The best girls team in the area is a Skeeza team, and the best boys team in the area might be a Skeeza team. I mean, you throw Hilton Head Prep up against the best, Wade Hampton or whoever you want to say is the best public school team right now. It's a game at the very least. So definitely don't sleep on it. I mean, it's not like football where it's a different game almost just because of the size of the players. But when you're talking basketball and you just got to put 5 on the floor, there's some teams that can go toe to toe with anybody in the state. And Hilton Head Christian's girls are, Max Preps has them number 3 in the whole state, any classification.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't sleep. Yeah. Don't get caught up in it with basketball. It ain't the same. So, no, you want to see Patrick Henry boys, though, you can catch them a little closer to home, Wes. They'll be at John Paul on January 20th, and they'll be at BA next Friday. So they'll be around. You can catch them somewhere on the flippy flop. So good stuff this week. Those are our teams of the week. Great performances all around. There were a whole bunch more we could have shouted out for sure because we had a bunch of teams who had good weeks. But we'll get into that a little bit more on the Loco Hoops Report next week as well. And one last thing we wanted to do before we go, Wes, and that's to note the passing of a true Loco legend in renowned soccer coach Rohan Narani, who was most notably at Buford Academy, an incredible time there. That was back when Skeeza played both fall and spring soccer seasons, and they won 8 state titles and 4 runners-up in a 9-year span from 1990 to 98. His record was an absurd, like 156-12.
That is amazing. And I mean, look at all the difference that he has made in so many of these young men who have, I mean, they've gone on to do incredible things and taken all the lessons that they learned from him. But just an incredible difference maker over in the Loco, and for all the wins that he's amassed, all the state championships that he has won. I mean, that is unheard of. I mean, during these times to have that kind of a record, consistency year in, year out with different players and then be able to have that sustained success is not easy. But from 1990 to 1998, he built an absolute powerhouse over there. And of course, you had soccer champions in the spring and fall, so you can win. I guess you can win twice in 1 year, which is kind of cool.
And they didn't have football, so he didn't have to compete with football. He got everybody out every
all the athletes in there, and just a great job. His ability to sustain that success for a long number of years. So I mean, what a standout in his time over there at BA, and inducted into the Hall of Fame. He went on to coach at Coker College, Coastal Carolina, Southern University, St. Andrews University, and Arkansas Pine Bluff. And then he ended up coaching back over at Hilton Head Prep. So also big in the club soccer community. He coached in Beaufort County, Florence County. And, so many people reached out and just remembered how much he meant. And just, he's more than a coach. And the great coaches are more than just X's and O's. It's about being that mentor, being that leader of young men, or leader of men and women, and to coach them as successful citizens, successful workers. And he really did it all. And the wins are one thing, but just his ability to inspire that generation to do great things on and off the field, that's what it's all about. And he really set an example for so many coaches to come here in the Low Country. And we certainly are heartbroken of his passing. He's going to be missed throughout the Low Country. And you just reflect on how much that he is meant to not just BA, but to the soccer scene here in the Low Country, to expanding it, to growing it over the years, and all the sacrifices that he made to do it. So fantastic career. And, we just wish his family all the best, and all the condolences. And what a memorable what a memorable coach that has left such an incredible legacy throughout the years here in the Low Country.
Yeah, no question. And I mean, you saw the outpouring on social media, not just from former players, but from fellow coaches and saying what they meant to him. And that always says a lot, because those guys are competitors, and they go head to head, and a lot of times they don't like each other. But when there's somebody who's just universally loved and respected like that among their peers, that really tells me a lot about the person they were. And I'm sad that Coach Narani's Coach Rowe, as they call him, I'm sad that his tenure in the Low Country fell, both before my time here and then in the interim when I wasn't covering sports for a few years, because I would have liked to have gotten to know him better. And certainly everybody who did has just incredible things to say. So congrats on a life well led, a job well done. Also a Marine Corps veteran. That's what brought him down here, and he ended up staying and making a tremendous impact on the Low Country, and especially at Buford Academy. So, rest in peace, and congrats on a job well done and a life well lived to Coach Rowe. And thanks so much to our friend Ian Leslie, the boys soccer coach over at BA, and a former colleague at the Island Packet and Buford Gazette for helping us out with a story. So we really appreciate him adding that personal touch to it and helping us honor Coach Rowe. But that is going to do it, Wes, for our show this week. Thanks so much to our sponsors. Thanks to all of our guests. We had a bunch of them: Terrance Ashe, Blake Maffei, and Ashley Powell. And thanks especially to you for showing up to listen or watch. We'll do it again next week. For Wes Kerr, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Loco.